That last video that I just made about my dream that I had and how I thought that my daughter wanted me to come and ghost bust for her in the dream. Well, I said that because, I'm a pretty good ghostbuster. From time to time, I've had to bust ghosts out of my mother's house. From time to time, I would go and visit her, and every time I would go to visit her, she has ghosts in her house. And they can be very troublesome. They mess with you when you're sleeping. They mess with you out of the corner of your eye. They were a problem. So at the time, I was not, I had never had to cast ghosts out of a house before. That was a whole new experience for me. But I knew that they were troublesome, and I knew they weren't welcome, but I didn't know how to get rid of them, because no matter how much I prayed, I pled the blood, I'd say in the name of Jesus, they were always there. And sometimes you could look out in her garden and you would just see, a host of them. So and they just look like people, just the way that they like to show themselves, at least in my experience, was as a family member. They would pretend to be a family member. They would come and wake you up, and you would think it was your family member waking you up, and you would get up to go see what it was your family member wanted, but your family member was fast asleep, and they had no, it wasn't them. So I remember I was listening to this little. Remember, I was saved in a colored church, and I used to listen to this one little colored lady on the internet. I don't remember now, because this was many years ago. I don't remember her name, Betty, I think it was, but she was wonderful. Oh, so I ended up calling her, and I told her my problem, that I had these ghosts and I'm having trouble getting rid of them. Could you help me get rid of them? And they're not in my house. They're not around me. They're only in my mother's house, and my mother kind of she entertains them. So when I come into her house, I want them out. But of course, as soon as I leave her house, they're welcome to come back in. So anyway, she told me about the salt covenant, and she told me to get the salt and to go around the house, pour the salt around the house, pray, and you'll have to look up that salt covenant, because this could take a long time. But just you can search that out yourself if you're curious. But anyway, the salt worked. That worked. I never had any more trouble when I would go to her house with those ghosts. I just brought out the salt. So that's my ghost busting story. So anytime you have trouble with ghosts, get out your salt. Read the salt covenant. God bless.